Hi, I'm Belinda Fenty.
And I'm Pauline Nakaria.
Welcome to Let's React podcast, the show where we dive into the world of entertainment.
Yeah, we'll share our experiences, the highs, the lows, and everything in between.
Join us every week as we bring you stories, industry insights, and captivating conversations.
Let's React podcast, where the spotlight shines on our stories and the magic of Black British talent. Welcome back. We're episode 3, Belinda. Episode 3.
Episode 3.
Today we'll be talking about juicy roles and dream roles and all the roles in between.
Ham rolls, cheese rolls, pickle rolls. No, okay, acting roles, fine.
Yeah, exactly. So to start us off, Belinda, on this lovely episode of the Dream Juicy Roles, how would you personally define a dream juicy role?
I'm torn because there are so many different types of juicy role that I'd love, and whether it's film or TV is I cannot choose. The reason being, you have really cool characters and character development within series, like Breaking Bad, for example. The protagonist, I mean, what an amazing journey that he was able to go on, and only because there were so many different series, which you can't get in a film, not to that extent. But then I've seen films like Monster, where Charlize Theron plays a serial killer. Right? Have you seen that?
Yeah, I love Charlize Theron.
She is phenomenal, and I actually think her acting's underrated.
Definitely underrated.
Now that was a juicy role, because to play a serial killer but to not make it cliched, and to respect the humanity of the person, and to transform so radically, she is almost unrecognizable. And when I saw the footage of the real serial killer, all the mannerisms, the way of talking, the way of walking were like identical, and that was really exciting. I'd love a challenge like that.
Yeah, and actually speaking of Charlize Theron, like I also love her in action roles, because like I love comic books and graphic novels, and so when I see her in roles where she brings depth to a character, because there's so much emotion in that character. You see the growth, the change.
Amazing.
And Old Guard, I was so excited. This amazing film, and Charlize Theron is leading it, and just seeing her character in this role where she's playing this, I don't know if you've seen it.
It's on my list.
Yeah, she just plays it so well, and can see the journey of the character. And so I'm excited for the second one.
A dream juicy role for me would be something that I read it and I felt really excited, or I felt moved, or I felt emotion coursing through me.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, that's one kind of example of one. But also there's ones where if you're with a director maybe that you adore, like Steve McQueen. I love his work. Like, it's just so deep.
Hey.
I know.
For me, when it comes to the dream role, juicy role, because I've not really done comedy. And I know it's not easy, but at the same time, I would love to do something in a comedic role and just see where that takes me. So
yeah, what comedy that you love that already exists that you can imagine playing that role, or you'd love to play that role?
There's quite a few. Watch just about almost everything, but I actually just started watching Black Ops on BBC iPlayer, and it's terrible, I don't remember her name, but I love that actress. She plays various roles. She was in Famalam Crew. Shout out to Famalam Crew. But Black Ops is basically, she's playing this police officer. They go undercover, and it's just brilliant the way she actually plays the characters.
What is it within that comedy that you would love to do or would excite you?
What would excite me is basically the way she plays it. She's like, yeah, I'm black. I'm actually your average sized woman. And she's got this massive afro, just her hair, just like, yeah, I'm just doing this job. Yeah, I need to get on. She's staying at home with her parents, late 20s, early 30s characters, just like, yeah, well, I'm still at home. Okay. So, and, and it's just nice when you see the ease with which she plays that character, the moments that just make it so smooth and just nice to watch, basically.
Yeah.
But like, I've always liked her work anyway, and she did a very deep film about isolation and mental health during lockdown, of this character who's stuck at home, and then how she deals with that. And just as an actor, she's amazing. So I just love the way she plays those characters, even if it's comedic.
Yeah.
She brings the essence of it. It just looks effortless, basically.
Great. Yeah, effortless. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, but she's amazing. Black Ops is an all-star cast as well. Like, they've got all the gold black talent in there. Most of them anyway. I wish it would be all of them, but
except for us.
Except for us. Yeah. Shout out. Come on, season 2.
Yet. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But in terms of that, obviously we talked about depth in the character and like the emotional journey and stuff.
Emotional journey, but also, you know, you mentioned action. I would love to do some action.
Yeah.
I'm always quite happy when I was at a party yesterday and someone said to me, oh, you look very sporty. And I wasn't wearing sports clothes. I was actually like dressed up because I had a screening of a short film that I'm in.
Yeah.
And I was like, and it wasn't because, I look sporty. It was like, if this random stranger who doesn't know me feels the need to say, you look really sporty, it means that it's oozing out of me a bit. So hopefully that means that that's what I get for free. That's what a casting director will see. That's what a director will see. And then I can attract those action roles.
Yeah.
It's funny because I don't watch much action, but I would love to do them. I mean, it's just such an exciting idea, or like a superhero movie, you know? Cool outfit. Yeah. Put me in Black Panther. Just,
Shout out Black Panther. Yo, Ryan Coogler.
Absolutely. Yeah. And powerful women too. Like, have you seen Scandal?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, basically, I want to be Olivia Pope. Who wouldn't? Badass. Bam, bam, bam. You know, exciting.
Just dealing with that as well, being a Black woman in that world, like working, you know, PR and just being that. It's amazing. Like, Olivia Pope is ledge.
Yeah.
And shout out to Shonda Rhimes. I should stop doing that. I should stop doing shout-outs.
We can shout them out. We can shout them out because we mean it. We mean it.
Yeah. Hashtag, you know, the episode release out of it.
Yeah, what about you? You said comedy, but what else is in your dream list?
Yeah, well, you know, like you said, action. And I was really excited about Woman King because, that was just amazing to watch. And even, you know, obviously legendary, like last week, Viola Davis in that role, like just a character that, you know, could be, and, you know, just not even thinking about the historical side of it, but just thinking about focusing on the acting, that journey of the emotion and the pain that she went through to become the woman that she became, you know?
Yeah.
And in that situation, especially in Africa, like, you know, women have a different standing in Africa in terms of historically, they just seen as these powerful beings because we create life, yet we still have to get up and make sure everyone is okay. So seeing all these women acting out, and it was so nice to see Woman King. Honestly, it was
so nice.
And it was just a film that even like, you know, Sheila Atim, Lashana, you know, as well. And, you know, having all these actors that are just the training and also seeing the videos.
Yeah,
of
the
them.
training.
Oh.
That really appeals to me. Like the months that they spent hardcore, like fitness.
Yeah,
like,
as well.
Wow. And the choreography. And I love the idea of that.
And the way
It's
they were
boot
doing
camp.
it. Boot camp, doing it together. That was just amazing to watch because also part of it is the process. So leading up to that. So building your body up to that moment, to that fitness level. I can imagine myself just being like, oh man, I'd really want that burger. But...
That's fine, have it, but give me 200 press-ups. Do you still want it?
I mean, depends.
How much do you want exactly?
Because, like, you know, when we're talking about the routines that we do as well as actors, so no, even when we're not acting, like I've started running 3 times a week.
Nice.
Just to
yes, girl.
I know, man. You know, when you have a buddy as well, it just means that we push ourselves to get up and go for the run.
Totally. I mean, I've always been into keeping fit anyway, but I feel like it's crucial as an actor because it's not for how it looks, but it's because you want to be able to play all characters. So you need to be able to play the person who is really strong and has lots of energy, as well as the person who maybe isn't or who is. And you can only have that ease of range if you yourself, your tool, is physically fit. So I think it's really important.
Definitely. It's not just about just the vocal bits. It's also supported by your core and also your lung capacity, being able to breathe in the right places, being able to, you know, like I once worked with an amazing director who said especially when you're doing like a monologue in a theatre, for example, the moment you breathe and you see everyone else breathe, the audience breathe, that means you have them in your palm. But being able to hold that, you need to be physically able to sustain that breath as you speak.
Did you see, I'm probably not saying it correct, Primi Facie, the play with Jodie Comer?
No, I didn't get to see it.
Oh my goodness. But it kind of highlights what you're saying because it's all so fast, but like in the right moments and energetic. And it took an immense amount of skill and energy just to sustain that level of performance for such a long period as a one-woman show, you know.
I mean, Jodie Comer is amazing. She's sick.
And that's another juicy role, her iconic Killing Eve.
Oh yes. The ease with which she plays that character is just great, and the chemistry they have with Sandra Oh in that role is just nice to watch and just see their relationship grow, and just, you know, starting off as enemies, then frenemies, and then like lovers, but learn friends.
Sexual chemistry there, and just complicated.
Everything.
Exactly.
But that was definitely brilliant. And in terms of like speaking about juicy roles, but also like inspirations to be an actor, what actors out there or what roles have you watched? I mean, we've talked about a few of those and stuff like that, but who, for example, did you first see and were like, oh yeah, that's why I want to be an actor. That's why I am an actor.
So one of my early memories about my acting journey was being around roughly, I'd say 7 years old, and going to a play at the Polka Theatre and seeing, it was a black actor who must have been, I don't know, about 20 or something. What was she playing? I can't remember what role she was playing. But I remember really enjoying her. She was a lead role. Just really enjoying this performance and thinking, wow, that is so cool. I'd love to do that. So I think children's theatre can be really important and really help shape career aspirations. That's why it's important for that to be diverse as well. I was lucky that I got to see someone so I could imagine myself in that position.
Because then if you don't see yourself, because I know a lot of people are always like, you know, who inspires you or who do you see, but sometimes without even thinking about it, like I was thinking about Whoopi Goldberg, for example.
Oh yes, of course.
She made me think, like, you know, she's not light, you know, when we're talking about colorism. She's not your conventional beautiful woman that you see a lot in Hollywood films, and then just seeing her come into the scene and just embracing these roles. Like, I don't know the background behind getting all these roles, but she wasn't in that stereotypical role like Sister Act. I mean, even in Ghost as well. But I remember as a kid seeing her and thinking, wow, she can do that. I can try, you know, I can try. She gave me hope, because that confirmation of being an actor, I mean, I always wanted to be one or a performer, but I just never really felt the confidence to do it. And so seeing the variety of roles that she played, I was like, oh, that's amazing. And then also like just being able to have that. And I'm like, okay.
Thank goodness for Whoopi. And for Eddie Murphy as well. These were the people who we could see, who inspired us. They're all funny. All comedies.
Starting out in comedy, I guess, is a way of getting people to like you. Well, starting off, especially if you're doing stand-up, as a person telling stories. And then once you then start doing serious stuff or other stuff, some people might be like, yo, that's a bit...
But transition can be hard, can't it?
Definitely.
And that's not because of the actor, it's because of the public perception of you.
Of what
when
they
I
think.
see Steve Carell, when I see him, because he's just Office in my mind, right? But then he's been in some really serious things, like A Beautiful Boy, for example.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I'm like, it's like, no, B, it's not actually funny.
Yeah, but when
you've got this impression in your mind.
Exactly, but when an actor makes you forget that other role, it's amazing to watch. Like that happened for me with Patrick Stewart. I went to see him many, many years ago in Bingo at the Young Vic. Was it the Young Vic or the Old Vic? One of the Vics. And he was playing William Shakespeare in his process of becoming William Shakespeare. And I remember sitting there and just going, oh, it's Patrick Stewart, yo, shout. But then I just got lost in the storytelling, the way his performance, the way I even forgot it was Patrick Stewart. And I really loved that. I loved that I could kind of forget, this guy I've seen in Star Trek, I've seen in X-Men.
That's what I thought, it was that guy,
Yeah, and then just thinking, I completely forgot it was him.
What comedy is he known for? Because we were talking about...
I know, I was just talking about,
Was he in a comedy that
I think
I'm aware
done
of?
a few... I don't know if he's done any comedy per se.
Okay. I got confused.
No, sorry, I didn't mean to confuse you. But I was just talking about transformations, actors where you forget what roles they have played.
I get you.
So the like, not typecast, but
Star Trek
know
being
them.
so iconic. Like you see him as that dude in Star Trek and then suddenly you see him at AVIC.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh yeah. Yeah, I get you. Yeah, it makes sense.
So that's what I meant, like in terms of the transformation where you forget completely what you saw them in and you remember them for, and then they're doing something else and you're like, oh wow, okay. I love that. So sorry, I didn't mean to confuse.
No, don't worry. It totally makes sense now.
Yeah. And then you actually reminded me of Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
And the roles that he plays. And I don't know how much of this is true, but I heard once that when he'd started out, he didn't want to do the stereotypical black man role in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And I think he was allegedly signed to the same talent agent or manager for Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
And so he said,
I heard this,
yeah, whatever roles he doesn't want, pass them to me. And that's why a lot of his films, when he'd started, you can see how different the characters are, like in terms of they're not your stereotypical actor role.
They're basically roles that were not typically given to black actors before.
Yes. And I was like, and that's how Luther was done, wasn't it? Like Luther was just written and Idris Elba was cast in it. It wasn't specific as to the race of the character.
Yes. What barriers do you think there are, if any, to you acting or getting a dream juicy role?
So I think it's the stereotypical ideology of what someone who looks like me is meant to be. And so the roles that are out there, a lot of the time when they're written, I don't believe are written with like a black person. If there's a black character, like, we talked about how they're just person, like say in horror films or in whatever, is always just a comedic relief or, killed first.
Die first.
Or, if they're Asian, they're meant to be good at maths or, do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's the roles. They're quite limited in terms of who, as a community or wherever we are from. So
you're just not getting seen for these juicy roles.
Yeah.
The ones that you could play. But...
Yes. And if they're trying to then tick a box like a token role, it is not fully developed character. And it just feels like they just want to have someone else in that role to see if it would work.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that is a bad thing, because sometimes people do end up getting roles that were not written for however the role was written. But that's it really. I think it's the limited roles that are out there.
Yeah.
There's not that many roles.
I agree with you. Further barrier for me, though, is that a lot of them go to known actors and you don't necessarily get a look in.
Yeah.
And there have been times where I've had amazing opportunities and been for a casting for something that is juicy. And then when I've watched it come out, the actor's super famous. Like millions of, not millions, but, you know, lots of mainstream credits to their name already. So it feels as though it was never actually going to go to me. Not wasted, because then you get to meet that casting director. But producers often don't want to take the risk of using an unknown actor in a lead juicy role.
Yeah.
A named actor brings with them an audience and some guaranteed revenue, whereas someone new doesn't. It's tricky.
Yes, but I feel like if they have someone already famous in the cast, why wouldn't they open it up to someone less famous? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because then that way it's also something to build up, having more choice, more options in terms of cast. But if you already have one or two famous people already on the production, I don't see why they shouldn't have someone who isn't as famous in a different role, because then that just means that other people can get the chance. I think that would be
absolutely
a great way to do it.
Yeah. But it's just so scarce. And this is why, I know you're doing it, but this is why we need to, and people are writing their own roles, their own juicy roles, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of what Michaela Cole did.
Yes.
Right? And, Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Yes.
Fleabag. It seems like a potential path forward. Not easy, but something that's within your control.
Yes, exactly. And it just means that you don't have to worry about getting that role for yourself, because no one will cast you in anything. So you just have to create the opportunity for yourself. And that's what Issa Rae did as well.
Yeah.
I've been inspired by
this. Can you tell us a little bit about
women.
what you're doing? Yeah.
So I'm writing this character that I'll be playing. So it's a mockumentary series that I will be starting off, and Belinda doesn't know this yet, but I've been thinking more about the character and developing the character more, and being inspired by these wonderful women like Issa Rae and Michaela Cole, and using the opportunities and platforms that we have now at the moment, especially social media. So I'm going to just start from there. So watch this space. The reason why I'm not saying too much is because I want to start it and then be able to build on it. And so you get to know exactly what I mean. But if anyone is casting anything with Lupita Nyong'o, just shout out. We could be sisters. We are sisters.
Totally.
I love Lupita Nyong'o. I mean, I remember when I saw her in 12 Years a Slave, I know that was her big break. I just remember thinking, oh my God, someone even darker skinned than everyone else I see on screen. And she genuinely now does look like, you know, someone as dark skinned as me, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I remember being so happy to see that. And then being able to just, like, I remember watching 12 Years a Slave, and I know the story and all that stuff. But if I'm honest, I was just watching her performance. Like, the whole time I watched that, I mean, I had to watch it again. Not a lot of people could watch it again, but I had to watch it again then to just watch the story. But I remember enjoying that moment of seeing someone dark skinned like her. I know it wasn't an enjoyable film per se, but the performance in that.
What would be your approach to your juicy role? Like, as an actor, how would you approach it? Because the reason why I ask you is because people have so many different approaches. We know, for example, that Daniel Day-Lewis becomes the person.
Method. He's proper deep method.
Yeah.
2 years,
and it
3
wrecks
years.
him. Yeah. And it ruins his mental health, I think. He does so few. I mean, they're all award winning, but
I know.
he just can't, you know. Whereas some actors like to not even pre-plan too much. They like to just be in the moment and react, and have very little, just have a whisper of an idea. What do you think your approach would be?
I think it's a bit of both, depending on the character. If it's fiction, I think with fiction it's easier to play the character in terms of what it could be. So and when I mean like fiction, like the character's made up, but in terms of, because you also have that kind of semi-fiction, because they're basically based off of someone in real life, so it doesn't necessarily have to be that person, but just the idea of the person. That one is when I guess I go into it a bit more, find out about the character. For example, when I played Salome's mum, Queen Herodias, based on a character that was allegedly back in the day, but at the same time thinking about how that character would be if the character was black, and the director allowing me to do that, and having that vision of her being blind cast for that role, and then just playing off of that idea of what an African queen could be or how she would present herself, but in modern day. So that one I kind of did have to think about her as a character in terms of all these little bits of information.
Did you stay in character when you went home?
Yes, I am queen, child. Do not address me as mother. No, I do leave that. If it's in the theatre, I'll leave that role in the theatre and then come back to it, when you do the warm-ups, when you do the things, and you're trying to get it back. But
same with film, or?
I would say so. I don't take it throughout the whole time. I don't think I do that. I find that will be draining, the energy, because it's hard work to also maintain that. But when it comes to like doing accents, I think I try and carry that throughout.
I was just about to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I will be in the accent maybe for a week or longer before and try and discontinue it and annoy all my friends.
Yes.
Who are like, can you just talk normally? Like, oh.
And try and get the mannerisms. It's just there. That one I continue until it's done. So yeah, I do try and practice, even just on a regular, just try and keep it, that's going on. Otherwise you do end up forgetting.
Totally.
And you don't want that. And when you have to do an audiobook where you're doing different characters and they're like, this character's American. Oh, right. This character's Nigerian.
Yeah, I tend to record each of the characters so that if I need a refresh, I can just play it before I do their line.
Yeah, that's definitely a way to do it.
Keep them all distinct. Yeah,
that's a good way to do it. Yeah, because then you play it back and for yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's what they do on The Simpsons as well.
Oh, really?
And I think on Family Guy, they just play the character back so that the actors will play like multiple roles, can just go, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
How about you? What's your process?
My process is to do the work. So to think for myself about the character and think about the journey that they've been through. If it's historical, then you're right. It has to be precise and specific and you have to know about that character. But if not, I fill in the gaps myself. Or I think about, if it's an extreme scenario, I think what would put me into that extreme scenario. So some people say things like, oh, I would never kill someone. But I think there are no absolutes. I just think, okay, maybe I wouldn't kill someone over them knocking my ice cream out of my hand, but what would make me kill them? And then I just sort of transfer that energy into the scene.
Nice.
Yeah, like you, I like to stay in the accent or stay in the voice for a bit so that it just feels comfortable. But I don't want to be in my head when I'm actually shooting or on stage.
Yes.
So at some point, I kind of do all the work and then you let it all go.
Yes.
And you just play and have fun and enjoy it. Siri getting involved. Don't know if you heard that.
She hears everything. You're going to get suggestions for that'll be nice. Just please suggest roles. Thank you. Thank you. But honestly, like in terms of making work as well for ourselves that reflects who we are, and then having that as a platform for ourselves. And I think we have to develop ourselves as filmmakers and just adapt to what we currently have and our platforms that we have, and making use of them to develop these characters like Michaela Cole and Phoebe, Fleabag and Chewing Gum, where stage plays, one woman or one person shows, and then they became adapted for, TV. So having that opportunity and hoping that you would get that big break. And also even Issa Rae, when she did Adventures of an Awkward Black Girl, it was a great show to watch online. You can still watch it on YouTube. And I think when he started getting popular, she's like, she didn't even have a lot of money to do it. And she just called in a lot of favors, filmed this thing. And then it just became such an amazing phenomenon. But it helped launch her career too. So I guess it's getting to the stage or getting to the age where you're like, I've been doing this for so long, this isn't working, what else can I do to make it work?
Exactly. We've got nothing to lose except for money.
Yeah. You might as well do
lose it on something. Yeah, exactly.
Might as well do that and cry about it later. At least you tried, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's in your control.
That's it, control. Taking control.
Yeah. In a world, in an industry where you can feel that you have none. But taking it back.
Yeah, taking it back. On last note, Belinda, is
yes,
there
Pauline.
a film or TV show or theatre production or even book that you would recommend to our listeners? Something, it doesn't have to be recent, just something you've loved.
You've just given me so many different areas.
Yeah.
I'm like, what about which book, which film, which TV, which
Okay.
For some reason, something random came into my head, so I'll just say this, and then maybe I'll ask you the question that you just asked me, so that it gives me time.
Okay.
I would love to play a female Luther character.
Ooh.
I feel like it is me. I could be playful, I could be fierce, I could be this fight for good but with a dark side, and so that needs to be written and I need to be in it.
Okay,
Pauline, as we conclude our episode, I have a question for you.
Yes.
What have you seen or read that has inspired you recently that you think the audience should take a look at?
So we were just actually talking about it, Misadventures of an Awkward Black Girl. And it might not be everyone's cup of tea, but in terms of seeing how someone created a role and characters that just crack you up. It's available on YouTube as well. But if you watch that and then watch Insecure, it's a nice start. I think Misadventures of an Awkward Black Girl, I would recommend to our listeners. If anything comes to mind, Belinda, just let me know and we'll just share it with them.
Well, mine's a book, but actually it's being made into a series, I believe.
So
my recommendation would be the book Queenie, because I read it and it was phenomenal. It made me laugh. It was deep. I identified with so much of it.
I remember the casting for that.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. Have you seen it? I've not seen the casting for it.
They've done it months ago.
Yeah. Are they filming it now? Or
I don't know if they've started filming yet, but I remember the casting for it.
But the book was so phenomenal. I'd say read the book. Yeah, but I'm looking out for the series too, just because the book, it was one of those, page turners where you can't put the book down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just, it's exquisite.
Nice. It was so lovely this week. It's been nice. Talk about roles and hashtag, tag, shout out.
Universe. Thank you, universe.
Manifest. Yeah. Thank you so much for listening, and we look forward to chatting into your ear next week too.
Oh yeah. See you next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye.